Hello everyone, my name is Regina Namaka Adigwe and I welcome you to another episode of Naija Girls Team. If you're new to this channel, remember to subscribe, like or comment. And I'll be going right into what I have for you today. Today we'll be looking at top 10 female scientists of all time. We'll be looking at top 10 female scientists of all time who have made remarkable discoveries in the STEM field. So get ready to be inspired by women in STEM have reportedly been harassed, demeaned, or constantly being made fun of in the STEM field, and most of them have actually left the field because of such experiences. But some women have persevered, and today we get to celebrate them. Today I'll be talking to you about 10 top female scientists of all times, those who have persevered, who have made ways for other women to come into the STEM field. I think today we'll just be taking our time to really appreciate them. I hope you enjoy the top 10 list I have for you. They're all based on my own special preference. It wasn't gotten from any other list, and I'm not saying they're the greatest, it's just they're the ones that I've recognized so far. Most of the information on these ladies have been gotten from Wikipedia and other online sources. If you have any other name to add to the list, please comment. Thank you. So going straight to our number 10 person on the list, Ada King, also known as the Countess of Lovelace. She was an English mathematician and writer, and she was known for her work with Charles Babbage on his proposed mechanical general purpose computer known as the analytical engine. I guess that's the history of computers as we know it. She's believed to be the first to recognize that the machine had other applications beyond pure calculations, and it's also believed to have written the first algorithm used by any machine. She's also recognized by some to be one of the first computer programmers. She's an outstanding lady from a very rich and social high class, and because of her social standing, she was able to meet other top scientists such as Charles Babbage, Michael Faraday, and Charles Dickens. She often describes herself as a poetic scientist, analyst, or a metaphysician. And as a teenager, she started working with Charles Babbage on his computer, and he is known as the father of computers. So she was working with him, and with time she got to learn a lot about computers and wrote one of the first algorithms ever used by a machine. Unfortunately, she died at a young age. She died at the young age of 36. But in her short lifetime, she was able to accomplish so much more. And she also was researching into how humans relate to technology as a collaborative tool. So she really achieved a lot for her short lifetime, and today she ranks number 10. For number 9, we have Rosalind Franklin. She was an English chemist and X-ray crystallographer whose work was central to the understanding of the molecular structure of DNA, RNA, viruses, coal, and graphite. Although her works on viruses, coal, and graphite was recognized during her lifetime when she was alive, most of her work on the DNA was recognized after her death. She led pioneering work on the molecular structures of viruses, and her team member Aaron Klunk continued her research after her death and went on to win the Nobel Prize in 1982 for chemistry. She also died at a very young age of 37, which was a very sad thing. But she also accomplished a lot. At number 8, we have Florence Bascom. Florence Bascom was the second woman to earn her PhD in geology in the United States. She's also known for her work on erosion and naming volcanic rocks. She has a lot of firsts, so she was the first woman to ever get a PhD from Johns Hopkins University. Isn't that amazing? And she also became the first woman to work for the United States Geological Survey, as the first woman to earn a master's degree in geology. She was known for a lot of innovative findings and for also making ways for other young women to enter the geology field. She's actually considered by most geologists as the first woman geologist in the United States. So she had a lot of struggles. One of her struggles was while studying at Johns Hopkins. She was made to sit behind the screen at the back of the class so as not to disturb the male students whose education were given priority. And because geology at that time was seen as a man's field, it was actually difficult for her to get an education in that and field, also establishing herself in that field. This has led her to become known as the pioneer of women geologists. She was an amazing woman, and she founded the geology department at Brown Mounds College and encouraged other women to enter the field of geology. She died at the very old age of 82. So Florence did an amazing job, and we really appreciate her work for bringing other women into the field. That was amazing. At number 7, we have Alice Ball. Alice Ball was an American chemist, African-American chemist, who developed the Ball method, which is the most effective treatment for leprosy during the early 20th century. She was believed to be the first woman and the first African-American woman to receive a master's degree from Hawaii, the University of, and was also the first female and African-American chemistry professor at the university. At age 23, Ball developed a technique to actually make the oil which was used to treat leprosy injectable and absorbable by the body. But unfortunately, due to her untimely death, was unable to publish her revolutionary findings, and so her male colleague went on to expand on her work and published it without giving Ball any credit. It was later discovered on, and she was later credited with finding, and the method was later renamed as Ball's method. She died at a very young age. At number 6, we have Shane Wu. I hope I said that. She was a Chinese American experimental physicist who made significant contributions in the field of nuclear physics. Wu worked on the Manhattan Project. This was the project that helped build the nuclear war during the First World War, and she helped develop the process for separating uranium into uranium-235 and uranium-238 isotopes by gaseous diffusion. She was also best known for conducting the Wu experiment, and her discovery led her colleagues to win the 1957 Nobel Prize in Physics. And Wu describes her experience as being a positive one because she had a very positive childhood. She and her father were very close, and her father encouraged her interest passionately, creating an environment where she was surrounded by books, magazines, and newspapers. So she lived a very long life and died in her 80s. At number 5, we have Margaret Mati. If you're an African woman who loves science as I do, or who is an environmentalist, you must have heard of Margaret Mati. So she is a renowned Kenyan social, environmental, and political activist, and she was the first African woman to ever win a Nobel Peace Prize. She then went on to become the first woman in East and Central Africa to earn a PhD at the University of Nairobi in Kenya. In 1977, she founded the Green Belt Movement, an environmental non-governmental organization focused on the planting of trees, environmental conservation, and women's rights. Isn't she amazing? I feel she is. I read her story and I was blown away. She was a very remarkable African woman and was able to achieve this when a lot of African women did not have those rights too. So she really did us proud. In 1984, she was awarded the Rights Livelihood Award for converting the Kenyan ecological debate into mass action for reforestation. I have to go back on that. So there have always been debates about reforestation, but she actually turned that debate into action. She actually created action out of that, which I found really remarkable and really impressive. Mati was an elected member of parliament, and she served as an assistant minister for environment and natural resources. She was an amazing lady, and that's why she's on our list today at the top 5. At number 4, we have Lisbeth Maintener. So she was an Austro-Swedish physicist who contributed to the discoveries of the element protactinium and nuclear fusion. She was praised by Albert Einstein to be the German Maria Curie. She had a lot of firsts. So she was the first woman to ever get her doctorate degree from the University of Vienna, and she was also the second in the world to earn a doctorate in physics. She was the first woman to become a full professor of physics in Germany, and her work and principle of fusion, which she developed, led to the development of the atomic bomb during the First World War. Maintener received a lot of awards during her time, but she wasn't recognized in the 1944 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for nuclear fusion, which was awarded exclusively to her longtime collaborator, Otto Hahn, which a lot of other scientists disagreed that she should have been given credit for that also, since she also worked on the same project. But according to the Nobel Prize archives, she was nominated 19 times for Nobel Prize in Chemistry between 1924 and 1948, and 29 times for the Nobel Prize in Physics between 1937 and 1965. Something really remarkable about her journey was that she actually remembered when she started her earliest research. She said she started her earliest research at the age of 8, and she looked at oil silk, till films, and reflected light. And she always kept a note of her discoveries underneath her pillow, which to me I felt was really, really amazing, that at that young age of 8, she knew what she wanted, and she went straight into what she wanted. So she achieved a lot, and today we get to celebrate her at number 4. At number 3, we have Rachel Carson. So Rachel was an American marine biologist, author, and conservationist whose books Silent Spring and other writings were credited with advancing the global environmental movement. I first heard about Rachel while I was doing my master's in public health program, because we read the book The Silent Spring in class, and since then it's been a recurring name as someone who is pursuing a career in environmental sciences. Her book changed the way people looked at chemicals and the environment, and led to the ban of DDT in the United States. Her other books, The Sea Around Us, won the US National Book Award and was actually a bestseller, which helped Rachel become financially secure and also for her to be recognized as a gifted writer. The Edge of the Sea and the reissued version of her first book, Under the Sea Wind, also became bestsellers. So she made a lot of money, not just out of her work as a scientist, but also out of writing about her discoveries in her field. Her work inspired a lot of grassroots environmental movements, and it led to the creation of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. She was actually recognized after her death and was awarded Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Jimmy Carter after she died. She was an amazing woman. Patrick Johnson was an African-American mathematician known for her work as a NASA employee, whose works were critical to the success of the first and subsequent U.S. crewed space flights. So her work was very critical in sending the first U.S. and subsequent U.S. crewed into space. She was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Barack Obama, and she's known as a pioneering example of an African-American woman in STEM. Her story was actually made into a movie, The Hidden Figures, and if you've not seen it, I implore you to go watch the movie. You'll love it. I've seen the movie a number of times, and I think it was amazing. Her story is really inspiring, and I hope she inspires you. So at number 1, yes, I'm really excited about number 1 because I think a movie is being made, or either a movie or a series is actually coming out about our number 1, and I'm really grateful to see that her life and her story is being told in such an amazing way, because I believe she was one of the greatest women in science, and I've been hearing about her since I was in secondary school, and it just keeps reoccurring because she did a lot of things that are still recognized today, and most of the spaces she created is actually still being used today. So at number 1, we have Maria Curie. Yeah, I'm sure you all know her. So Maria Curie was a Polish and naturalized French physicist and chemist who conducted pioneering research on radioactivity. she did a lot of groundbreaking by becoming the first woman to receive a Nobel Prize. Woo! And she received that alongside her husband, Curie, for their work on the radiation process. She also was the first woman to receive a Nobel Prize in chemistry, which she received for the discovery of the elements radium and polonium by the isolation of radium and the study of the nature and compounds of this remarkable element. So this made her the first person ever to win the Nobel Prize twice. Isn't she amazing? First person ever to win the Nobel Prize twice. And as of 2020, she's the only woman to win it twice and the only person to win the Nobel Prize in 2 scientific fields. She founded the Curie Institutes of Paris and she founded the Curie Institute in Paris and Warsaw, which remain major centers of medical research today. And something remarkable about her was that during World War I, to actually help during the war, she developed mobile radiograph units to provide X-ray services to field hospitals. So hospitals that most soldiers go to, especially since they couldn't make it to the general hospital. And she actually innovated this radiograph units that were mobile and can be transported to field hospitals to help out with the soldiers that were injured. So she is our number one, and I feel she's an amazing number one. I was really inspired by her story, and I've been inspired by it since the first time I heard about her. I think she's the only woman that has really been reoccurring in the science field since my secondary school days, and I feel she deserves our number one spot, don't you? So that's all I have for you today. And to keep you informed about the mentorship program, please look out for flyers on that. You'll be getting more information on that. It was really good sharing this with you. Bye.